Processing output.
Attention viewers, BigJackFilms is unavailable at the moment due to missing in action. But he has left a recording before his absence for you to enjoy.
The following is a fan-based video review under fair use. Star Wars The Book of Boba Fett is owned by Lucasfilm Limited, the Walt Disney Company, Disney Plus, George Lucas, and Kathleen Kennedy. Please support the official release and streaming services. Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome back to the King Kong review series. Well, this is a pretty deaky bridge, isn't it? As you guys know, this is a King Kong review. But this also kind of acts as a Star Wars review. Hey! The prequels are coming, I promise. But to celebrate the month of May, which is the month of Star Wars pretty much, as well as anime, we'll get to that when we get to that. But I figured I'd bring back an old segment of the show that I used to call Parody Corner. This is a short topic of the show that allows us to go through the many parodies and incarnations of King Kong through media, television, cartoons, you name it. And to combine two of my favorite things of all time with King Kong and Star Wars, it all bridges together in the finale episode of the Disney Plus series, The Book of Boba Fett. Released last year in 2021, The Book of Boba Fett is a spin-off series from The Mandalorian that takes place after the events of Return of the Jedi. Now, I should point out that I haven't watched the show in its entirety, let alone The Mandalorian, but given so many people have asked me to talk about this particular episode, I felt I'd finally break down and give myself a little preview of this live-action series, which pretty much all culminates in a pretty kick-ass episode. Before we get to the main subject, the basic premise of the Book of Boba Fett is that Boba Fett survives the events of Return of the Jedi in the Sarlacc pit, takes control of Jabba's palace, and chaos ensues in trying to control the outer reaches of the galaxy. From other bounty hunters, gangsters, CGI cameo appearances, previews for later shows. Yeah, you know Anakin and Luke are gonna meet up and do a father-son bonding moment. Nobody else but you. And of course, the return of some classic characters from the Star Wars universe. It all accommodates to a pretty kick-ass final battle at the end of the show. And so much happens in this one. Laser battles, pod racers, speed racers... No, not that one. But the main reason you guys want me to talk about this episode is for the sequence involving the mighty Rancor. Not the one from Return of the Jedi, because that one technically died. But it all comes down to the Rancor grabbing a civilian, climbing up a building, and fighting off things King Kong style. Now, I should point out that I'm actually a really big fan of the Rancor. The original design is pretty kick-ass, and the original monster is also awesome. Animated by stop-motion animator Phil Tippett. Though, this time it actually wasn't stop-motion, it was actually a hand puppet shot at a high frame rate. In fact, the original concept was going to be a man in a suit in the vein of the classic Godzilla movies, but unfortunately the effect didn't work too well, so they went with the high-speed puppet instead. Phil Tippett's also no stranger to our show, given he's done a ton of stop-motion animation for previous work, including The Empire Strikes Back with the walkers, the chess pieces in the original Star Wars, amongst all kinds of special effects wizardry in the original trilogy. And of course he went on to do... this. You had one job, Phil! You had one freaking job! But on top of that, Phil Tippett's actually a pretty excellent stop-motion animator, and ultimately passes the torch from the likes of Ray Harryhausen and Jim Danforth. And he's animated a fair share of stop-motion animated creatures, including the awesomely short Prehistoric Beasts, which eventually became an ABC television special called Dinosaur, hosted by Superman himself, Christopher Reeve.
But in the 1932 movie King Kong, Tyrannosaurus Rex met his match. King Kong was the creation of Hollywood. He was fiction.
I definitely want to talk about that special sometime down the road. In fact, with Phil Tippett doing a lot of stop-motion animation in the late 80s and early 90s, you'd think somebody like John Landis would have hired him for his remake in 1990. Though, because that project never got fully off the ground, it's kind of hard to tell if Phil Tippett would have been involved or not. let alone if they were going to use CGI on Kong, especially because this production took place before the computer technological advances of Jurassic Park. But back to this episode. While the Rancor is pretty much CGI, I can kinda let it slide because it actually looks pretty seamless compared to the original puppet. And on top of that, this thing's a fucking beast. It's smashing buildings, it's crushing aliens, and doing all the King Kong tropes you expect in a galaxy far, far away. And to be fair, that sequence is pretty cool. And hey, it beats that piece of shit Connect game. God, that game was bantha poodoo. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that song is still pretty catchy. How the fuck did they not put that in the Han Solo trailer?
What's that?
I'm solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo.
This was of course ILM doing the special effects, and they did an amazing job recreating the movement of the puppet from Return of the Jedi. Now, it is a little homage, so I don't really have much to say in terms of the entirety of the episode, so I'll just leave it at a short little subject here. I know this review is kind of short, but a lot of people wanted me to talk about it, and I overall had a good time. Overall, this episode of the Book of Boba Fett is actually pretty cool for Kong fans, and Star Wars fans in general. It's got great action scenes, great special effects, the plot is all over the place, but you can let it slide and enjoy the spectacle. Someday down the line I probably will talk about the Book of Boba Fett in its entirety, but for now, I just wanted to bring up something that a lot of Star Wars fans and Kong fans have wanted me to mention. With that said, I'll give this one a good 8.3 out of 10. Nothing special, just classic Star Wars action, and a little Kong nod to hold you over. But of course, let me know your thoughts on this episode of the Book of Boba Fett in the comments section below. So until the next video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying may the Force be with you. I know you're watching, Gablor. Your pests are starting to annoy me.